In the meantime, the recordings so bolstered my story that it forced the state's attorney, nervous about going up against Bysen money and power, into motion. Grobian and William had been charged on Friday with assaulting me, but were released almost at once on I bonds. On Monday, though, Conrad's team arrested them again, this time for murdering Braun. The cops tracked Freddie to earth at his new girlfriend's place and charged him with second-degree murder in Frank Zamar's death, since he hadn't intended to set a fire, just to short out the wires. They arrested Aunt Jackie as an accessory, which somehow seemed really fitting. If charges stuck, if she ended up in Dwight doing time, she could run a class on how to accessorize your wardrobe with a murder charge. William and Grobian made bail within hours, as did Aunt Jackie, but poor old Freddie was left to the mercy of the public defender without money for bail. He would probably spend not just Thanksgiving in Cook County, but Christmas and maybe Easter, given the speed with which the state brings people to trial. When Freddie realized he was being hung out to dry by Pat Grobian, he started to sing like one of Mount Ararat's choristers. He told Conrad about his meeting with Grobian in the warehouse, the one I'd seen, where Grobian ordered him to break into Braun's house to look for Marcina's recorder. He told Conrad about planting the little frog full of nitric acid at Fly the Flag. He even told Conrad about driving the Miata into the undergrowth below the Skyway for Grobian. He was bitter about that, because he thought Grobian should have given him the car in thanks for all his, Freddie's, hard work, but all he'd gotten out of his night's labors had been $50. Conrad didn't tell me all this at the hospital, but when he came by Lottie's to ask me more questions, he filled in gaps in the story. He added that it was a source of pure pleasure to him to listen to Grobian and William turn on each other. That's how they got that big old semi over on its side. They were arguing over whether William was really a weasel or Grobian was a thug. I kid you not, Miss W. The two reenacted their fight for my benefit, and William grabbed the steering wheel, saying he was a big enough man to drive the truck. They fought for control of the wheel, and the truck went over. I love it. I really do, when the rich and famous carry on with the same attitude that my street punks do. By the way, that truck you rode in was Cernan's rig, or the one he'd been driving the night he was whacked. Why Grobian didn't scrap it is beyond me.